I really want to wrap the story up so that I can get into like what I'm trying to do and how I want to help other wound survivors. So we're just going to dive right in and just like basically move from after my thoracotomy. But I do want to go ahead and like show you a list of my injuries real quick. Hold on. Okay, actually, you can see here, if you can't see the top two, they say grade 3 liver laceration, splenic laceration led to splenectomy, transverse colon injury, stomach laceration. And you see number 5 there? I had 14 wounds through my small bowel. So basically, the bullets that came in and went through, basically all went through like my small bowel. And I'll let you know just from some Google research, your small bowel is anywhere, I believe, from 18 to 24 feet. And the average human needs at least 8 feet to survive. I was left with 6. And no, I did not need an ostomy bag. I think I showed you all my stomach. Yeah, didn't need an ostomy bag. They thought I was going to need one, but everything seemed to work out how it was supposed to. So yeah, lots of injuries, lots of surgeries, lots of bleeding. I believe I bled out at one point. I think it was during the first surgery. Like I lost a tremendous amount of blood, obviously, before getting to the hospital in the first place, but I lost a lot of blood. I ended up needing 16 or 18 blood transfusions. And that was just throughout the course of my hospital stay. But I want to say the first week, I had at least like 12 of those transfusions. So yeah, the entire length of my hospital stay was 22 days. And when I tell people that, they're shook because they would assume that I would have been in there for months. And I would have too, but again, thankfully, my body is incredibly strong that I got out a lot sooner than everyone thought I would. And I survived when it wasn't looking good. So I got discharged from the hospital on November 16th, but 2 days before that, it was like magic day. I got my chest tubes out. I got my JP drains. They actually fell out. I got the splint, or the cast off of my arm. And I want to show you something really funny. The same day I got the cast off my arm, I got my stitches out. These little lines are literally from the stitches. And because I'm black, my scar's keloid. These ones aren't too bad, but the one on my back from the thoracotomy, it's quite raised, and some of the ones on my neck are still a little bit raised. And that was from them having to do central lines because when I got to the hospital and during my hospital stay, they could not use my left arm to give me fluids or to do anything, and my right arm was broken, so they couldn't use that one either. But with my left arm, all of the veins in my left arm kept glowing. I know that I have very tiny veins, and I'm sure that was probably part of the problem. But yeah, so November 14th was awesome. I got like all of my stuff out, it fell out, and I was getting ready to go, and I got so excited because they were like, oh, you'll probably be able to leave tomorrow, November 15th, but that didn't happen. If I'm not mistaken, this was also November 14th, which was the first day I actually got to leave a hospital room and actually like see something other than a hospital room. I'm trying not to read anything, but if you guys have questions, please put them in the comments. I'm more than happy to continue on sharing my story. I don't have an issue sharing, but yeah. So we're going to go ahead and jump ahead. So November 16th, I was so excited to go home. It was a whole day process. I didn't end up leaving the hospital until probably like 5 or 6 p.m., which really sucked because I was so excited all day long. But everything went well. I think they did like one more last round of labs on me to make sure I was okay. And then like the time came and it was time for me to go home. This is me, and actually, fun fact, this was a brand new apartment. So after the shooting, my husband and my family were like, you guys gotta move. This place is not safe. So we ended up moving to a different place in Kansas City, and I went home to a brand new home. And if you see that little like black thing on like the right side, that was my wound vac. For those of you that don't know, a wound vac is attached to a really deep laceration or wound, which mine was right here in the middle of my stomach. And basically it helps, they put like a special foam over you with like Tegaderm, which is like basically like plastic wrap almost to kind of keep it covered. And what the wound vac does is it basically anything that's like liquid or fluid that's coming out, which is totally normal because I was healing from the inside out. That laceration had to stay open. Basically, my stomach was literally like cut open, hella wide. But this wound has to stay open in order for it to stay clean and to avoid getting any kind of infection because the wound is so deep. So it has to heal from the inside out and it has to remain open in order to do that. That wound vac, oh, say hi to buddy. That wound vac would end up being like, it was awful, but it was for a purpose. But yeah, that's basically, day of the shooting, getting to the hospital, being in the hospital and then getting discharged, that's the story for that part anyway. Recovery after that, I did some physical therapy. I want to count because I want you guys to know how many freaking appointments I had between October 25th, even up until like now. I believe I had like almost 10 different ER visits between like October of 2022 to February of 2023. I was in and out of the ER. I'm pretty sure they damn near knew exactly who I was every time I came in. One of the more memorable ER trips was I had horrible pain in my left side, right here. And what actually happened was that a bullet was lodged in there, and basically it was creating an infection around it. I was in excruciating pain, and I had actually gone to the ER like 3 days beforehand. Like, look, this thing is like killing me. It hurts to literally breathe. Like, someone please do something. They wouldn't do anything. The next time I went back, I was sobbing in tears, like begging the on-call or begging them to call like the on-call surgeon just to come down and look. And thankfully, it was actually one of my surgeons that was on my surgical team. So he actually came down and like looked, and he had, I think it was his resident, go ahead and extract the bullet for me. And I will insert a picture of that too. Okay, I'm hoping that TikTok doesn't take this down, but yeah, you see me over there laying down, and then yeah, that is what came out of my side. And when I tell you, when I looked at it, I damn near like threw up and passed out at the same time because I was in so much like disbelief. Like, I knew I had been shot, but I was like, there's a whole ass bullet. It was a whole ass bullet in me. Like, oh my God. After that ER trip, I believe it was like a couple months after that, that is when bullet fragments started to expel themselves from my body, mainly through this cut here. And I will say in February of 2023, I ended up having a surgery to remove, there was a full bullet lodged right here. And then there was two that were, this is what this scar is from. There were two that were lodged on the inside there too as well. But yeah, recovery since then there's been a lot of up and downs. I was running on a survivor's high for the first probably 6 months after I was shot. And after that was when I had to keep going to the doctor, getting new medications, trying new medications, physical therapy, more ER visits. There was just so much, like, it was almost like my body was like going into shock all over again, trying to like stabilize and, you know, find a new baseline. I also wanted to put this in here because this was like the only reporting from me being shot that was out there. So like from how many times I was shot and like the critical condition I was in, I think they were like the police, and they just couldn't report my name. They couldn't report like anything because they thought I could have been involved in something, or someone could have been looking for me, and this was like a attempt to, you know, end me. Probably the last thing I'm going to input here is probably one of the first pieces of bullet fragments. I'll put the first and the most recent that came out of my arm. And most recently, fragments started coming out of this spot up here. And yeah, it's been a roller coaster. Actually, one of the first things to come out was not actually a bullet fragment. It was an internal suture that was supposed to dissolve, but didn't, because I'm one of those weird people where if you get internal sutures, they don't dissolve for me. They don't dissolve like they're supposed to. And that little tiny black piece literally is one of the most recent fragments that came out, and this was back in this past September. Since then, no more fragments have come out, but I can feel under both of these scars, I can feel little pieces of I don't know what, but I'm hoping that my body is done pushing these fragments out like that, because they hurt. It was quite painful, and I had to take them out myself because each time I went to the ER to get them taken out, they couldn't and would not do it and would not call surgery to come help. But that is it for me retelling what happened the day of the shooting, my hospital stay, and where I am now. So far, so good. I'm improving. My lungs are healing, and everything else. Like, I'm right on track. And y'all seen my arm does not have the nerve damage, and I am just doing my best to keep on pushing.